Hello, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Biagel Ayibelain. Thanks for being here today. Today I'll be presenting my project portfolio called Habitwise. I'm in C20 full stack specialization in Paris. So, the story of this project. 3 years ago, before I started my journey in Oberton School, I was a full-time stay-at-home mom. So my routines were my second nature, so I didn't really have to put things down. Like there is always this instinct that is there, always reminding me of what to do. So it was all going well, but when I started my coding journey, I knew I had to put more structure to my learning and my home life. So I thought that was the time I had to kind of get an habit app to help me organize myself. So I got onto App Store, started scrolling, and I saw lots of options that have the needs I was really going for. But most of these things had price tagged to them, and I was not really in the mood to pay. It was my free mood day, like I call it, like I didn't want to pay for anything. So that idea came up. It was like, why can't you just make one instead of trying to download one? Try to make something that pleases you, that answers to what you want in a habit app. So that's how this project comes about. So it's because of my need for organization and my need also to build something that could be useful to not just me, but to every other person that might need the same organization. So Habitwise is not just a habit tracking app. This app will help you manage your day-to-day tasks and also your long-term projects. So the technologies I use for this application, I use the Dart language and Flutter for my front end, Firebase, Firestore for my back end. And for my state management, I use Provider, Firebase authentication, and cloud storage for my pictures and files. So I did use GitHub for version control and Android Studio to test my application. So the objective of this application is to build a user-friendly design and goal setting and achievements. I wanted a situation where users can set goals and get achievements or be encouraged, in the process. Then the other reason is to encourage positive habits. So the architecture. What is the architecture of my application like? First-time user tries to sign up, for example. It communicates with the front end that is developed with Flutter, and it tries to authenticate. Then its information are stored in the database, directly in the database, sorry. And then the user is not authenticated yet. It has to be verified before it can access the app. So a message will be sent to the email, a link, so that the user can confirm that is actually the person. Then there is this periodic timer that I implemented that kind of pulls the kind of watch to see if the link have been clicked or not. So, but once the user clicks on the link, then it's directed to the dashboard where you can add habits and goals and interact with the app application. And for this application, there is clear division of concern. So I have my habits DB service. This is the service that deals with habits, adding habits to database, deleting habits, and some other crude operations. Then have the habits provider that deals with state management. Same thing for goals and GoDB to this with data. So that's the data, the layer for that kind of leverage the front end and the back end. So there's also the group provider and the group DB service, because the application is actually a type that you can put in your personal habits, like your personal goals. Then there's another interface for group management tasks and goals. So when an habit is added, the sorry. So when an habit is added, the database will check if the ID is present, if the group ID is present. So if it's present, it adds the habit to the group interface. And if it's not, it will be added to individual goals and habits. Sorry. So for this project, we actually have 1 month to run this project. And for a start, when I had this idea, I've never used an habits tracking app before. So I was trying to get my ideas together, what it should be like, and what my features should be like. So then I started my back-end development. I started creating my models and doing all the backup setup. Then the UI and state management. And for the future, of course, the time we have really limited time, so I could not really put in all the features I wanted the app to kind of have. But in the future, we'll be expanding. There'll be expansion of features, and it's supposed to be a cross-platform application, something to be able to run on Android and on the web and iOS. So, and there should be thorough testing too, because it has not been done yet. I was doing more back-to-back testing and a little bit of, yeah. So I've not really gone deep into the testing, so that will be done. Then robust security too. I have to set my Firebase rules to make sure that users are not writing into each other's data. So, and finally, I'll implement DevOps. So the challenges I got during this, the process of the development was actually dealing with Firebase rules, because I wasn't really used to Flutter. I started learning it in the course of my, my project portfolio, because I wanted to try something new, really learn Flutter through that process. So it was like a setback, but I understand what it takes right now, and I'll be implementing all of that with time. So the successes, there are strong architecture decisions. Like I said, the application has full separation of concern, so it can be built on, like enlarged on, for future expansion of the application. So adaptability, the same thing, like I can actually adapt it and put in some new features. Then there is also Firebase Firestore real-time synchronization. So I understand that the app on itself, it's not perfect yet, but this gives like opportunities to improve and work on things. So in the future, I'll be implementing trick tracking and enhanced group features, more engaging gamifications elements, reminders, and notifications. These are some of the code I use for my application during my development. So I have the add habits function that adds habits to the database, and the get habits that fetches habits from Firestore as a stream for real-time updates. And also, I can also remove habits from the collection. So we're going to try on the demo. Okay, trying to remove this. Okay, so this is the landing page. For a new user who wants to log in, you have to sign up first. You're led to the sign up page where you enter your email. The username, then the password. If you try to sign up and the password are not the same, you likely get an error message saying the password does not match. So obviously, password doesn't match. So there are checks for that. I'm going to try to log in with the right password now. And when a user successfully sign up, an email, verification email is sent to the user. Okay, sorry. Is something wrong? Okay. My screen freezed, sorry. Okay. So in the email, I have the message showing the link that has to be clicked. I lost my emulator. Sorry. Now I'm trying to log in. Okay, there's something wrong. Okay. I'm going to try to log in with other accounts. I think there is something wrong. Okay. Sorry for the delay. So the email has been verified and the user is directed to the dashboard. So this is the dashboard for Habitwise. And here you can add habits. There are already set categories and templates. So I'm not going to be going through the process of typing for time's sake. So the user is supposed to choose a category of the habit, then the title, the description, and the target, then the date and the time. So when the user has the goal, it gets added to the goal screen, which is used to manage individual goals. And it can increase the progress of the goal. And once it's completed, the statistics is shown on the dashboard to tell him if it's 100% complete or not, and the total number of goals that he has. Then on his profile, you can see the total number of goals and the completed one, if it's completed or is in progress. So here you'll be able to see all the goals that are in progress and the ones that are completed. Then there is achievements. When he finishes first goals, he gets a badge. And if he finishes 10 goals, he gets another kind of badge to encourage him. So the same thing goes for habits. It's still the same context, but it's just that habit is really for day-to-day tasks, while goal is supposed to be more on a long-term need. So I'm not going to go into that. We'll try to create a group. Here, if you want to create a group to add goals and assign tasks to members, this is where you do it. You enter the group name, the group type, and the description. I'm just going to enter dummy words. And I generate a key, a unique key, so that when somebody wants to join a group, you can just copy the key and get access to the goal. Oh, sorry. Okay. I did the wrong manipulation, so I lost my former data. A user can add picture here. It's profile picture, but I'm not going to do that right now. So here you have the group detail screen for the goals. This is where you had goals for groups. And habits, you had habits, so they get displayed here. So you're supposed to be able to assign goals, like I said, to users here, to members of the group, and I have other things I would like to implement to really make this group implementation more robust and fun and encouraging. So we can also edit our profile, the group profile. For the pictures, I have not saved picture on this emulator, so it's going to take some kind of process. So I'm not going to do it right now, but you can upload your pictures and change your pictures and keep them updated. So I'll say that's it for me for Habitwise, and thank you for listening.
Thank you for this presentation.
Thank you.
So you were speaking about separating of concerns on your application. Can you give us an explanation of what is it and how more in deep how you made it into your application?
Okay.
How you formed it?
Okay. Thank you for the question. Actually, in my widget tree, I kind of separate the logic of the UI from that of the backend and my providers, and all my dialogues, I kind of put them in a separate folder. I separated all my folders and make sure they all concentrate on one particular need for the app. Okay. You want me to show you the code?
Feel free to.
Okay. So here I have my method, that's my authentication method. On that method, then I have my models where I defined all the structure, the foundation of the application. Sorry about that. Then here I have my providers, that providers for goal, for group, habits, member, codes, and user provider. So here I have all my screens. And in the screen, I have the auth, that's for the login and the sign up page, and the verified email screen. I have all my datas for auto-completion, and another folder for my icons, then everything that has to do with groups, like group creation and details and info. I got them in a folder. Then, and the rest of the screen for the application, like the dashboard, the goal screen, which is for individual goals and habits, for individual habits, then the landing page. Okay. Yeah, I have the services too, the files that deals with CRUD operations, then my theme. That's basically the structure.
Okay, thank you. And so you use Firebase.
Yes.
Is it also isolated from the rest of the application?
Sorry?
Like you use Firebase for your database and backend and all of it. How do you handle Firebase? Did you use all the methods and features of Firebase anywhere in your application, or did you limit it to, for example, repositories or in specific places in your application?
I did use Firebase authentication for all that has to do with authentication for the application. And I used also the cloud Fire store for my pictures. And I don't know if I'm really answering your question, if I get your question.
No, I was speaking about like your code in your structure.
Okay.
Did you separate the usage of Firebase and isolated it in some files?
Yes, I did.
Like in some modules that are not in your UI or stuff?
Of course, I actually have all of them in service folder. And this is where I deal with the Firebase, where I made the post and the delete and all the other operations I need to make. So I have all of them under service. So service basically deals with Firebase.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Madam, do you using some encryption protocols when you're storing your data on the cloud? Because the safety of user data is very important.
Yeah, I understand the importance of bus safety when one is um, implementing an application, but actually I didn't really make my own IDs, like for all my documents. They are also generated by Firestore, by Firebase, and Firebase also have what they call security rules to help you um, kind of put things in check for the security aspect of it. Then I still have code that kind of give access, a particular access to some kind of user and deny access to others.
Thank you for answer. I wish you good luck in your project, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Any more questions?
Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Casey, C20 Full Stack Specialization, and today I will present to you my portfolio project, meu diário oficial. So for the ones that don't know me, I am Brazilian, and I moved to France in 2016, and I worked in the administrative field until 2022. So I decided that I want to change my career, and I chose the development web. So it was very hard, very difficult, because I didn't have previous knowledge in web development. And after fresh make some research, I joined the Hobbiton School in February, and today I am very proud to show you my work. So I will talk about a little bit about the Gazette of Salvador. It's a public website that publishes acts, laws, all information about the government. So my application will focus on the public contest of Salvador. So why I had this idea? My niece made a public contest for an internship in Salvador City Hall last year, and they don't give follow-ups. So they don't send emails or phone calls or whatever. So I know that because it was me that every single week searched her name on the list. So after 8 months, she was convocated. And for most of the contest publics in Salvador, it's the candidate that follow up the convocation. And if they lost the deadline, they lost the post. So my objective is automatically send an email for the candidate when the name is found on the list. So for my technologies, for my front end, I use the React, TypeScript, actions for my API calls, styled components to make my site web beautiful, my backend Python, like my language, Flask for my framework, SQLite for my database, and SQLalchemy to make the integration with Python and SQLite. So my timeline. For my entire application, I spent 3 months. And for my backend, it was the most complex. So I started make my research in June, and the end of the June, I spent 2 months on my backend, and for my front end, I spent 1 month, and I finished last week. So for the architecture, it's very simple. The user will interact with my front end. If they have an account, they make the login. If don't, they make the subscription. So my front end will send the request with the Actions API, and my server will search the name of the user on my database. So, and every single day, my application, my logic will search the name of the user on the Gazette of Salvador, and they will search in my database the name of the user. So if they match, the user will receive automatically an email. Congratulations, your name was found on the list. So it was my challenge. So for the success, I implement very well my logic. It was hard because I didn't know how to implement this. So I use Selenium for interact with the browser, and I used PDF Python to read all the lists. It was very good. It was very useful. So my failures, I didn't succeed to configure my Docker because I had issues with the Chrome driver, the version. So I spent 5 days in that. So I didn't succeed. But after, I will try to configure and made all the features like a link for the contest public in Salvador or other cities. In the state of Bahia, we have 470 cities. So I will try to implement other cities on my application. And what did I learn? I learned to use Python, Flask. It was my first time. I learned use libraries like DayGS to configure my dates, and it was very well. So let's see. Here we have my home page. I put in English, but my default language is the Portuguese. We can change here. Here we have an welcome message. The about us, I give some information about the page and the application here. And if the user needs help, they can send us a message here. It was successfully sent. So here we can see the message. So okay. Here we have the terms of use and the previous policy. And here we can make the login. I will try to show you first subscribe. I will search on the page of the official diary, official Gazette of Salvador. Here, Rafael. Rafaela. So the email I will put my Robinson email. The password. It was successfully created. We can see that here. That was successfully created. And I will show you it's in Portuguese because it's the default language, but when the user is subscribed, they will receive a first email, and I will put to run. I will change here just the time of run. I will put it on 2 minutes. And here it's a scheduled task. So my application will try to find the name of the user on the list of Gazette. And this is it. In 1 minute we'll see the application working. So any questions?
Well, do you have already agreements with the government of Salvador for implementing your software?
No, I will try to demand, but I make this because of my niece, and I it's working. Sorry.
I'm sure that they will approve you because your project is really great. Thank you.
Thank you. So here,
I have a question. Your project is for the municipality of Salvador.
yes.
Would you like to deploy it in all Brazil on Latin America Latina?
It's a little,
No, but
a little bit much, but I will
because,
try to implement in the state of Bahia. Salvador is just a city,
okay.
so I will try to implement in all the states, and after we have 27 states, so
Okay.
it's enormous. But I will try
To deploy it. Okay.
Yes.
No. Okay. Thank you.
In here, we can see the users. My application found 5 users on the database, and my application found Bruno Reis and the others, and they send the email. You can see here. So this is it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So you have two languages. How did you manage the translations of the systems that uses two languages?
I don't know if I understand your question.
So you have on your site, you have two languages.
Yes.
How does that work? Like the way you show screen in English or in Portuguese?
I used E18Next. It's a library. So I made all the translations, and I put the button. It's worked very well. And it was very difficult last year. I didn't succeed, for this year it was good. For here, if you want to see, sorry. Here. Here we have my research, and I translate every single phrase. And the full language, it's Portuguese.
Thank you. And how did you structure your project, like in the back end, or so in the front end? I see you moved page per page.
Yes.
Did you add other structures and just pages and the fetch needed to the pages? That's for the front end. And for the back end, can you describe a little bit how you organized your project?
The front end, I made each page because it's more simple to see and to figure it out if you have a bug or else. Header, footer, it's very, very well structured. And for my back end, I divide like views, task, email. Here we can see to make also understandable. Here I I configure Selenium SendBlue. It's an API to send automatically the emails. And this is my structure for my emails. It was like that because I thought it was more simple to divide this way.
Thank you.
Well,